Welcome back once again to what our listeners have generously called a podcast on the internet. It's the
No Class Podcast.
with Eddie.
And your friend Matt.
What are we going to talk about today, Matt?
A whole lot of NTRPG. That's the North Texas RPG Con out of Dallas. Mike and Doug, it's their baby.
And this is the 11th year, if I remember correctly.
This is the 11th year. It is our 8th year to attend.
Which I can prove by showing you all the little lanyards around our bags.
He has precisely 8 lanyards.
Well, let's jump in. This is the first time that we've gone on Wednesday night, and this was the longest of NTRPG cons for us. We went in on Wednesday night and stayed a little later than usual on Sunday, but we're going to try and take it chronologically, so let's hear about Wednesday.
Well, Wednesday we weren't rushed, which was nice. There was some inclement weather. We all loaded up in my truck and went over. And it was actually a pleasant drive. We went through some rain, but then it got clear. It was really nice, beautiful skies when we got there. We strolled in, and not everyone's there Wednesday, but of our friends that we've seen through the years, it was great to say hey and shake their hands, and it was kind of nice because then we could wake up Thursday unrushed and get a full day of gaming on Thursday, where normally we only get 1 or 2 games. So that was nice.
Now, before you move off of Wednesday,
Right.
Don't forget, we actually got in a game.
Yeah, we did get it Wednesday.
Yeah, it was before Old School.
Absolutely.
With Doug, and he showed us a game that he used to play with his friends when they were like 8, wasn't it?
Yeah. This was before D&D was even a thing. And it's this really cool old like tin container that looks like a castle, and inside it's got those large what would that be, 56 millimeter, the bigger, like the old Army men figure size, but they were Vikings and knights and really cool old figures. And then it had like some horses and like camp set and little catapults. We had a lot of fun. It was really neat. And they back then they didn't have any dice other than D6s, so they used playing cards. They basically played war.
And they didn't even think about using the dice, by the way. I thought that was funny.
That is funny, yeah, which dice are so integral, to gaming. But, they basically played war,
And they figured out hit points. And again, kind of funny, is they had 6 hit points. The good guys had 6 points. The monsters had 6 points. Everybody had 6 hit points.
But no one ever thought to use a die 6.
But nobody thought about a die 6.
For some reason. And it's funny was the game master, they called him the dealer, because there were cards involved. So it's like, I'll be the dealer and I'm going to run a scenario for you guys. And then they'd like pass it to the left. And that guy now you're the dealer. What's the scenario? And these guys would conjure up their own little adventure, their little scenario. So they were conjuring up little mini D&D adventures as kids, not even knowing that eventually, yeah.
The thing about that is, like, when you played Army Men as a kid, or Knights and Monsters or whatever, did you ever codify it that much?
No, but that's brilliant, man. That's awesome.
That makes you wonder about the type of analytical mind that Doug has.
And Doug's he's a gamer. He even talked about when he was deployed to, was it Korea?
Yeah.
Yeah, that over there they were, at some outpost and bored out of their mind, and he made up some other games using a deck of cards.
Football.
Yeah, a football game using a deck of cards.
Which, think about that, is you could say, hey, this is Dungeons and Dragons or Monsters and Mazes, or, call your game whatever fantasy thing you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to get a bunch of guys to play it, you probably can take that same thing and reskin it and go, this is football. Oh, I'll play football. I'm not playing this silly little dungeon game you've got. But, if it's football.
It's fantasy football.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
It is. That's cool. But no, we really appreciate Doug sharing that with us. It was a lot of fun.
And he made souvenir NTRPG deck of cards,
sweet deck
which
of
I don't know
cards.
how many there are, but
Like
we've got some and you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
They're pretty rare.
As I'm drinking out of my 10th year NTRPG mug, one of my favorite coffee mugs.
Delicious. Having a little sipperoonie, making
buddy.
that into the microphone that all the listeners will appreciate.
Yeah, I know. It's better than some other noises I could make. But so that was like Wednesday segueing into Thursday. So Thursday in the morning we played God Skull, DCC, Imprisoned in the God Skull. Guy Tim Laughlin ran it. Really nice guy, did a great job.
Who wrote it? Was that a Michael Curtis?
That is a Michael Curtis gig,
so.
absolutely. And really, it was neat. Yeah, we had a good time.
You'll probably shut me down completely on this, but I can't think of a lot of DCC that we've played together.
No, sadly.
It's usually me running or you running.
Yeah.
But we're usually not on a DCC table together.
So that was a treat. And there were some, we game with some fun people. I'm going to step on a landmine here.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. But I really wish people would reconsider having children that are below the age of 12 at tables.
Oh, I thought you meant ever.
No, just, haha. But anyway, because, in this case, the poor kid was bored and he wasn't involved. When it's his turn would come around, he's playing with his phone. And it's apparently, his parent is making him stay at the table. So you're literally punishing your kid. And they're distracted, and it's just sad to think that somebody who would be engaged with the game and would enjoy it, can't, because that slot's taken up by a kid who really apparently doesn't want to be there. And so that just kind of aggravates me. That's one of my little, but don't get me wrong. There's some friends of ours, Jason and Gus. Gus is, I assume, around 11, 12, 13, but he's very precocious. He's very attentive. When his turn comes, he's on it. He makes, good decisions for a kid of that age. Yeah, he does some stuff that makes you laugh, but he's never been, that kid
disruptive. Inattentive.
Disruptive or inattentive ever. He's a joy to have at the table. Gus can play at my table anytime, but I think he's the exception, not the rule.
Well, I would say kids definitely have a place in gaming.
Oh, I know. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely.
Which is kind of unlike as we were coming up. You never saw kids at the gaming table.
Yeah. Well, other than I was kids when I played D&D. I started when I was like 9, 10, 11,
You weren't going to be some 50, 60, whatever old dude and have an 8-year-old on the table.
Right,
that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
But what I think is people need to take some responsibility on what games they put their kids on.
Thank you. There was and this was cool. Once again, Doug and Mike, innovators, next level stuff, brilliant. They had a children's game. Everyone at that table was a child, and someone who's very patient ran the game for them with the expectations of running a game for a child. I think that's awesome. So I'm not saying kids shouldn't be gaming. Oh, I think that's brilliant. They're the next generation. We've talked about this. I don't want this to be a dying hobby, and I think I'm not saying kids.
The children
and games
are our
bad.
future.
Thank you, but just kind of know your child and don't put everybody else through that.
And know the game.
Yeah. Don't be a jerk and go, well, my kid's going to be, a little goober over here, but whatever, you got to deal with it because I won't. It's like, come on, man.
If you're going through some kind of death trap dungeon, everybody's got to stay frosty. Everybody's got to bring their A game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not necessarily the game for little Billy, and that kind of ruins the game for other people.
Get me wrong. If this person should ever hear this, kid seems like a sweet kid. He's a kid. It's not that he's a bad kid. He was not rude or anything or a brat or whatever. No, he was a sweet kid, but he just was not engaged with the content, which is not the GM's fault. We enjoyed it, but it was just because he's an 8, 9-year-old kid. He's whatever. I think we've belabored the point.
Well,
now.
To kick the horse one last time,
Yeah.
what I would like to see is something like the tabletop event system that they use and we use to run our cons through. If there was something that it would come up and say, hey, are you over 18? Are you over 13? And then you could color code those names in the list of players. So when you look to sign up for something, you could say, this table has a couple of kids. So the people that want to avoid that sort of thing could.
Right, yeah. Oh, I agree.
Just so you are aware as well, because you have no idea who these people are when you get on the table.
Yeah. Tabletop events is great, but there are some ways that it could be better. But now Thursday night. Wow.
Yeah, that was Thursday morning.
That was Thursday night. So we had a nice break in between, and that's one thing this year we made sure we weren't rushed, trying to make our games bump up against each other, because it's nice to have a chance to leisurely go do some hygiene stuff, get a bite to eat, go interact with the vendors. A lot of great vendors, love those guys and gals, and peruse their goods and shake their hands and talk a little bit. And it's just nice to have that time, which we had that. But anyway, Thursday night, you want me to go or anyway?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's when I did my tourney game, and usually the first night of any con, like at our cons on Friday night, I do a tourney. On Thursday nights at NTRPG, because traditionally that was our first day there usually, I do a tourney there. And they've been pretty well received. This year I had a full table of 8. We had a lot of fun. The game was, fast paced and fun, and there was a lot of, laughter and there were shouts, yay, when that crit happened at the right moment. It was just a lot of fun. And my winners, it's a tournament game, where Paul Kinsler took first place, Todd Bradley, if I mispronounce it, I apologize, Todd. It's either Brady or Bradley. He took second place, and Jessica Hinch, or Jess, took third place. And she's one of the...
Yeah, the Dragoons out of... Geez, I want to say is it Round Rock down there by Austin? Or they're in Austin?
Yeah. And are there some in Houston, maybe? Or am I brain farting?
They may have like some sort of reserve members there, but I doubt anybody's driving over for their monthly meetings or whatever. But hey, maybe they are.
Who knows? But the Dragoons are great, and but anyway, we had a great time.
I'm gonna mess up names now. Jeff Webb. Yeah, he's there, one of the main men over there, and then I think Jessica is the right hand man, so to speak. I think she's the kind of next in that chain of command. So.
Absolutely, or else I think her spouse is maybe pretty high up in it, I think. But we also had our buddies from West Texas, two of them at least. We had Mike and Kelly, and they're just great. I can't say enough good things about those guys. But now it's like I have to decide, but I'm retiring that adventure as well as it was received, because I want to bring something new. So now I've got to come up with a new tourney mod, but I'll be racking my brain. If you want to send me some ideas, go for it.
Well, you've really got to rotate and keep your material fresh, especially if it's going to hit 2 to 3 cons a year. Those kind of things do have to filter out, and I appreciate you do that.
Oh, well, I mean, I want everybody to have a good experience. I want to keep it fun, but I like the competitive. I love the non-competitive games, but I love the tourney game too. It's mildly competitive.
So would you say that was a kind of a more wild and full of laughs, lighthearted game?
Yeah, that was the thing. It's a funnel. It's a 0 level characters. No one takes it too seriously, and I'm fine with that. And funny, we made that point. We see people that sometimes kind of go a little over the top on a game that was really meant to be kind of more serious, and to me it's a little. Yeah, it's not entirely in the spirit of the thing, But saying that, going back to the funnel, oh yeah, man, it's just gonzo, balls out, just wild and crazy, explosions, and just craziness, And I think everybody appreciates that, because you go into it knowing that's what kind of game it's going to be. Anyway.
So on the other side of that, you had my Thursday night game, which was the Grinding Gear, Lamentations of the Flame Princess module. You kind of know going into that one what you're going to get, and it's screwed.
Yeah, I think what did you say years ago? Like basically, any of those modules from that system are a great big FU to the players. But if they enjoy it, it's
right. You've got to have a special kind of player and a special kind of party. And one of the jokes that I always made is Matt would say, "How come you never run any of these for us?" And I said, "Those aren't the kind of modules you run for friends
that you want to stay friends with. You might punch me in the throat,
But you've got to have the right mindset on that. And for me, as somebody that wants to be challenged, and what I really appreciate about gaming is the survival aspect. Can you beat this dungeon? Can you get out alive? This is definitely one that those type of people would enjoy.
Yeah, you pat yourself on the back if you survive with your insanity intact.
So we had I'm trying to think how long that one went. 5.5 hours. They made really great progress, and in the end, TPK. But they all had a great time, which is the important part.
Yeah, if you're having fun, it's all good.
A lot of great players in that one. Warren specifically, a big Lamentations fan, so we chatted quite a bit through the con about that. And
cool. I'm
kind of mixed on Lamentations in general, just because of how that company has shifted along from where they started. That'll be one for another podcast.
Right.
But it's an interesting topic.
Absolutely.
And does that conclude Thursday? Or we got something else to say about Thursday?
No, that's good for Thursday, I think.
All right. Roll it into Friday.
So Friday, man, first thing, we went and played Aliens, which is like a board game with our good old buddy Gary Oliver.
Which is a lot like Lamentations.
Yeah.
You agree to get
Yeah.
screwed over and
Yeah.
crushed into the ground.
What's hilarious is Brian, another buddy of ours, Gary and Brian are very much heavily involved with making things go smoothly at NTRPG. So people give a lot of accolades to Mike and Doug, as they should, but guys like Brian and Gary, they're the guys working behind the scenes to make it work. And a big thank you to them. And
Gary's
accolades.
really an unsung hero.
Yeah, and Brian too, probably.
Not Brian. Gary is the man holding it together behind the scenes
Right
too,
on.
along with them.
I've told him he's the glue, man. He's the glue.
For sure. So,
But,
hey, this is your shout out, buddy.
Right on.
Good job on you.
Hey, yeah, you're the man. And on top of that, great job with the aliens. Oh, and man, he did 3D printed scenery that I'm telling you, there's no words sufficient enough for me to communicate through this microphone how beautiful, because they were perfectly printed, looked great, and he painted them, and the painting is phenomenal. So really, I mean, a good game's good, but when you've got those extra props, it really can take it next level. The miniatures were really well painted, and he's smart. He put little bases on them with their name on them. But anyway, it looked great. It was a lot of fun. And what's funny, Brian tells us, he comes in and said, "You don't know this, but see how you're getting your butts kicked." And he goes, Oliver, because Gary's a nice guy, he's pulled back on the number of aliens that are supposed to spawn every round. So it's not, I mean, it's supposed to be more brutal. Yeah. But we were holding our own for a long time, but finally the wheels came off.
Which I think happens in every game.
Oh, sure.
Eventually the wheels just come off and you're done.
Right on. But I played Apone from the movie, Aliens, and you played Frost?
Nope.
You weren't Hicks, I know that.
Nope.
And you weren't old Game Over, man.
Pharaoh.
You played Oh, okay, yeah. But anyway, but what's funny, wisely, I think, both of us picked flamethrowers.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's funny, I've been accused of being a power gamer, but I'd never played, I didn't know anything about the characters, but I think Apone is one of the better characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Oliver, because he's such a sweetheart, he allowed somebody to play Ripley, and apparently she's not supposed to be in that scenario because she's a total, bad butt, whatever. But anyway, we had a lot of fun with that. And then midday, I played Mutant Future because I post APOC, that's my jam. But I've never got to play it. I've had the book for like 3 years, but I played with Glenn Hallstrom, and he ran a game that took place in the post-apocalyptic bayou, like in Louisiana, which, I love that because I'm from Louisiana. He was playing Zydeco music in the background and the sound of crickets, and we were attacked by giant alligators. But the guy who gave us the job was a sentient mutant alligator, And so and we had to fight pumpkin heads and, things like that. I love the theme. He ran a great game. It was a lot of fun. I look forward to getting a chance to play with Glenn again.
Yeah, I just wanted to put in one kind of unrelated note on here is a lot of times when we're talking about people by name, if it's players or private citizens or whatever you want to say, we'll just call them by first name. Mm-hmm. And if it's somebody in the industry or whatever, we'll use full names a lot of time. Not that we're name dropping, but at least they're already out there. We haven't asked everybody, hey, would you like to be on our podcast? Yeah. Would you like your name mentioned for the 5 people that are going to hear it? So...
Yeah. They're probably like, don't mention me on your podcast.
Exactly.
But sorry, I do what I want. So Friday, you go.
Okay. I hadn't thought about this at all until right now, but going from the reactor room with the beautifully printed 3D board, whatever you want to call it, model, I moved on to Secret of the Jade Serpent. That was run by Chris Haskins, who is... name drop, Nord Games. Those guys have been really supportive of us, so definitely check them out.
Yeah, good guys.
Anyway, they had a good setup of, the Dwarven Forge?
Yeah.
So he had a massive dungeon set out in Dwarven Forge, and I was like, I went from one beautiful set piece to another. And so that one had the nice ooh-la-la light-up lights. It had a serpent temple. It was the Secret of the Jade Serpent. And the secret was, he brings pain.
That's funny. That's funny.
It was a good group. In that one, we actually had a moment where we had to go find someone at the con and get information from them.
Oh, that's a nice twist.
For example, I had to talk to the captain of the guard. I was like, all right, I've been here long enough to know that if anybody's going to be the captain of the guard, it's going to be Doug or Gary, which I think his shirt actually says security on it. But that's the advantage of going to the con X
8
amount of years in a row and having a rapport with those guys. Is like, I'm going to get every single bit of information from that NPC.
Absolutely.
But that was a really fun twist. It was a really fun game, so highly recommend it if you get a chance to get in a game with Chris there. Jump on it. My father-in-law, John,
Is their biggest fan.
Yeah, if he was here, he could never say enough good things. That would be the whole podcast right there, is him describing that game to you in detail.
Oh, yeah, he loved it.
But, yeah, great game. And then after that, we diverge again to our own individual games that we run, so take it away.
Well, I ran Evil of the Ancients. Once again, this is a Michael Curtis jam. Michael Curtis, he had basically, the theme was, okay, it's post-apoc, but I want it to be horror, to put a little twist on post-apocalyptic. And so there are these evil entities that had breached over into the world right about the time of whatever the apocalypse that occurred. And so the people in this like government research facility base or whatever, their sanity's unraveled over the course of a day, being in the presence of these powerful psychic otherworldly entities, and they basically turned on each other and ripped each other apart. And so there are these psychic residue, and the players are having these little, throughout as they play, they have more and more of these visions or whatever. And if you get a chance to play it, it's a really fun game. I know a few of my players were like, I'm going to buy this and run this for my group. They had fun. But it was really fun for me because I slowed down. Like a lot of times I've been told I run a high energy game. And I think, in my mind, I think, well, you're at a con. You want something special, not like a home game. So that's just kind of my mindset. So I'll run these like high octane, like at the end of one game at Red River, a woman actually said, oh my God, I need to slow my pulse down at the end of the game. I mean, it was just full throttle, you know. But for this, I pulled back and just sat down and just was very calm and you know, described the scenes or whatever, because it was that slow burn building horror was what I was trying to get. And the narratives in that module are, I mean, you're talking about Michael Curtis can craft a horrific vision.
Oh, yeah.
Vision. I mean, at the end of describing some of these rooms, the players are just look at me like, what the, you know, I'll leave that last part off. I mean, yeah. Anyway, it was, I believe they enjoyed it. I had some great players in that, and I had fun with it. It was a change of pace.
Well, that brings it over to me. I ran one of the greatest modules known to mankind, Carnage of Casino.
Oh, yeah. That's your baby.
Yeah, written by me, so of course it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Just like in one of the previous podcasts I said, every idea that I've ever had, it's a gem, at least in my mind. So there you go. That one has just taken so many rewrites and revisions and trying to get it hammered out. So I had a couple of new things that I had added into this one, and I said, how's it going to go? I figured they'd be done through with this one pretty fast. I figured we had like a 6-hour slot. I said it'd probably take you about 2 hours. They were flying through it in the beginning. It's definitely one where it's like, if you keep your hands in your pockets, you'll be out here in 30 minutes. It'll be resolved one way or another.
Yeah.
But they really just loved it. They kept wanting to go longer. They had defeated the mod, and they said, but we haven't checked everything out yet. We can go to the exit, or we can keep on going.
You know they're having fun.
So,
they're
yeah.
begging you to play longer.
They said keep on going. There was a new NPC that those of you that actually got to play it, I think, appreciated a lot. So that was his first appearance in the mod.
But he's actually an old character of Eddie's.
Yeah, and apparently he's a superstar.
Oh, yeah. No,
So-
I always loved that character. It broke my heart that campaign never went anywhere, because you playing that character was a lot of fun for you and for me as the game master.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you a little secret of mine. The more backstory that I put into a character, the more that I flesh them out, the more that I like them, the less that I will actually get to play them. So I think we played that one, maybe 2 times. One.
Yeah. Well, the other players just...
It fell apart.
Post-APOC wasn't their jam. I mean, I'll just say that. I mean, either you like something or you don't. And if you don't, you don't, you know. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
So that game went really well.
Well received. And what's cool is one of your players gave you a gift. I thought, how cool was that? we love to give away gimmies and swag. We give away dice and we give away Goodman Games swag that we get for the purpose of distributing to our players, and we love that we can do that. But it was kind of what's a good word? I won't say sweet.
Sweet. How sweet of you.
How sweet. But it was just really nice that this guy showed up at your game, and here's some. Thank you for running a game for me. Boom. Here's some swag for you. You know, that's kind of cool.
But just to give a couple of shout outs to players, because this could easily turn into us reading a list of all the people that were in our games.
Yeah, you don't leave anybody out, but I mean, we're kind of on a time schedule.
But Matt C., thanks for that little gift. You and your buddy, great players, really had a good time with you. Talking about more like old friends, there's the new friend. An old friend was Wyatt, who I think was in your Mall last year.
Yeah, great guy.
So kind of the opposite, like you were saying, you turned your volume down. And
was
Zach
Zach with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like a lot of games together. Yeah, they're fun guys.
What I don't like is when people just hang out all the time. It's kind of like, oh, if you see this one guy, you're going to find the other guy trailing right behind him. It's ridiculous. I don't see how grown men live their lives like that. Sarcasm.
Ha, ha.
But anyway.
Sounds like a good group.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Wyatt was in that with his buddy. So doing the mall. Oh, and I was saying, you turned your volume down, I think, and slowed your pace down, whereas I had to ramp mine up for the carnage in the casino to keep everybody involved and pumped up, and that one was a laugh riot.
Yeah, it paid off, man. Everyone's laughing, they're engaged. That's one thing. If players don't have their phones in their laps, I'm like, you're doing something right.
But that kind of leads us off onto another conversation for another day, is about what kind of con experience do you want?
Yeah.
Some people want a wild, rambunctious, anything goes, I'll never see this character again. Whereas for me, not that I don't like it, but I'd like a lot more of a challenge. I'd rather go through a really, like, oh crap, we got to bring our A game instead of just guns blazing.
Right.
But, everything in proportion.
It's great when you're engaged with the story and you're kind of getting into the mindset of your character. Not thinking like, oh, well, I never play this character again, so I'm going to have him be suicidal and crazy and stupid. No, imagine this was you. Okay, and play your character like that. But I mean, or getting inside that character's head. That's, that whole role-playing thing. But anyway, but yeah, so that was Friday. Anything else about Friday?
I don't think so. I think we're safe for Friday now.
So Saturday, to mention him again, Matt C., thank you very much. I appreciate it. He gave me one of those tokens as well.
Yeah, you got sloppy seconds.
Yeah, we shut up. And but it was cool of him to give me a token. But what was interesting, when I was setting up for that game, a guy, Christian C., man, I hope you're feeling better. Get well, pal. But he came up and he was apologetic that he'd signed up for every one of my games and wasn't able to attend any of them because he was sick the whole con. I hate that. I mean, you look forward to this con. It's once a year and he's sick. It's terrible. I hope he's feeling better. What a great guy. And anyway, I hate he couldn't be in the games.
Just to go back and brag, Friday night, or was that Friday night that we were at for my MCC that I was talking about? I got the golden ticket dropped on me, baby.
Oh yeah, he had a golden ticket.
I had to make a seat for somebody.
Wow. So
that's one of the things they do at NTRPG. They sell a golden ticket, and if you haven't signed up for a game, you just walk in and flash that ticket.
And they have to make space for you.
So that kind of blew my mind. I'm just surprised they sell tickets there, so half the game can sell out before anybody else gets to it. So I'm always impressed when I sell one single ticket. I'm like, oh crap, I owe you. You paid $5 to sit here.
I have to bring it now.
I got to give you at least $10 worth of swag or something.
Or like a handier.
Yeah. But the golden ticket, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah. No, that's cool. But anyway, so I ran that game, and actually that's one time when Eddie got to play
Killer of Giants.
Killer of Giants. It's by Forrest. Hope I'm not ruining his name. Aguirre. But anyway, really nice guy. I've chatted with him before. He wrote that. It's a fun module. It'd be great in a campaign because we only maybe touched on 1/3 of the content in that time frame we played. But it's a fun module. The guys had fun. I had fun. I ran it twice now. I ran it at LongCon last year, and the players, they loved it. I did too. It's just
someone's
fun.
Always going to be the hooch wizard.
Well, it's like I'm starting out talking about name dropping Bill Barsh. We always laughed that we'd play in his competitive games every year, and it was the same NPCs every time. Mm-hmm. Well, I've got this stack of pre-generated third levels, but it's hard. You can't really pre-generate them like using a program. I've had to hand do it, so I'm kind of lazy. So it's that same set of guys. I just plug the thumb drive in and print that
Oh,
similar
why
group.
wouldn't you?
Yeah. So no, there's pretty much always going to be a hooch wizard.
But that one's going to get taken too.
Oh yeah.
Somebody's definitely going to that one's not going to sit unloved.
But I will say, as far as I'm ever concerned, our friend Jason, sorry, my bad.
Yep.
Jason L. He is the hooch wizard. Oh, Zeke. Shout out there. Anyway.
So I was in that one, so I don't have to say anything about it.
Yeah.
But this was the last game that you ran at the con.
Absolutely.
So I'll give you your props and say I had a great time in the game. Everybody that I talked to coming out of the other games that you ran said they had a fantastic time. So as always, Matt brought it at the con.
Oh, thanks, man. So after that, we played I can't speak for Eddie, but I know me. And don't get me wrong, I loved everything I did and the games I got to play in. Everyone did a great job, but my favorite game by far.
And if you read the Long Con Facebook post, you already know that he can speak for both of us because I did.
Yeah, Blood in the Whiskey, which was ran by David Beatty, who right now has a Kickstarter going for Dark Trails, is the game system. It's basically uses the DCC engine, but it's Weird West. It's like Cthulhu meets Boot Hill or whatever. But David ran an amazing game. He's just a really great guy. He made everybody at the table at ease. There was some children at that table, but he found a way to really keep their attention and keep the little kids laughing. And so
fear.
Huh?
With fear.
Yeah, fear. But no, I mean, and everybody was engaged. Everyone was attentive. A fun game and a great story. And I'll say his writing and the way he described it was so evocative. Of all the games I played, I could really see the scene in my mind.
Could you smell it?
Yeah, maybe not that far, but I have no sense of smell anyway, which is a blessing as a nurse. I can't smell.
Well, I'm going to reuse the line that I used on Facebook. If you can write something that makes me go, that's weird, you're doing something right in my book.
Because he's a twisted bastard.
Exactly.
So if you could make him say that.
If I think it's weird, it's weird.
Yeah, because he's pretty. We're both pretty jaded. I'll go ahead and say that. But yeah, we had so much fun. And so after that, and I'll mention
before you do,
go ahead.
The Kickstarter is going on right now.
Yeah, definitely
we both
kick
kicked it.
Yeah,
and about the time you hear this, if you're listening when this episode is fresh, it's still going on, but you'll have to jump on it now.
Get on it,
because if you hear this in a week, it's over with.
Yeah, it's over with. But I'd say that they had the thing. What do you call it? It fulfilled in 3 hours.
Stretch goals. Oh,
it fulfilled in 3 hours. It made in 3 hours. They blew through like his first 10 stretch goals just ridiculously fast. So they added like 5 more stretch goals. They blew through those. He added some more. They blew through that. I mean, but there's some of the most talented DCC writers have
Michael Curtis,
the Raven Crow King, I think Bob Brinkman or one of those guys. Anyway, but I know a number of people that you've probably heard their names if you play DCC are on tap to write adventures for this. They're part of the Kickstarter. So, and the one we played that he's working on now is Blood in the Whiskey. I can't wait to run that one. That's a great adventure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that I was kind of getting at. As the Long Con, we can kind of go out and see some of these games like this too. And this is definitely something that I think is even more so on our radar now. And we might try and do some arm twisting and get him to come to the Long Con and run a game for you guys.
That would be phenomenal.
So picking you out the best of the best and trying to bring it home.
Because I know Cody, a friend of ours, he loves the system. He loves the flavor. He got to play with me at David's table last year. And he just ate it up with a spoon. And so, yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't get to come and play this year.
I know. And he was very green.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, had so much fun. So after that, we decided, our good friends from Michigan. Yes? Michigan?
Nope,
my bad. Minnesota.
Set him up. Yep.
Minnesota. My bad. I'm very tired. I still have some con funk. I get it out. I'm still a little fuzzy. But anyway, they came down. It was Brian, Bob, Chris, and Reed.
And they'd been there from Thursday forward, I think.
Yeah, Thursday forward. But I mention them now because we figured we got to treat these Yankees to some good Texas barbecue. So we took them to the Hard Eight.
Yep, which is, I guess, an open pit barbecue. Absolutely. And you actually come through the little grill
corral
cooking area, which I discovered, I think, when I got up the next day, put on my shirt so I could head to the shower, and I was like, I smell like freaking barbecue smoke
Delicious
still,
barbecue.
which is nice. So I think I have discovered the cure for con funk. What you do to get rid of that smell is you make all the gamers walk through the open pit barbecue before they go into the game sessions.
That is some next level thinking, sir.
Showers no longer required.
Just a nice barbecue smoke bath.
Maybe at Long Con this year we'll be glazing people as they come in, just putting a fine coat of barbecue sauce.
I'm going to put a little bit of hickory smoke grease behind each ear or whatever.
It works.
But no, but no. So and they loved it, and we enjoyed it, and it was fun, get a little barbecue treat after that. And those guys drove all the way down to game, but that's because we've told them, just gushed about how great NTRPG is. So they had an adventure of their own. They drove down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we've told that story on our podcast before, maybe just the two smart guys and a friend.
Yeah.
We drove up to Lake Geneva. We went to the Gary Gygax Stone, and Bob and Brian were two other gamers there taking pictures. They're like, hey, it's over here, while we were looking around. So we went up, we took their picture.
And are you the Texas guys?
Yeah. We took their picture, they took our picture, and...
Yeah, we got to be pals with them. We had breakfast with them. We invited them to the game, and they got to game with Ernie Gygax and James Ward, Chris Clark, So, I mean, I think they were pleased with...
Yeah, that was the best hookup that they ever made in gaming, I think.
Yeah, but they're just a great bunch of guys. We actually got to play a game of DCC that Brian ran for us, and it had a really fun home game, old school feel.
They ain't picking no pairs.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was it was fun, Look out for Langenberry.
They ain't no Charlemagne.
Yeah. We had a good time. They're a great bunch of guys, and I really appreciate them making that drive down. And I'm sure, I know they had fun.
Yeah, we'll see them again.
Yeah.
There is a talk of a return trip to Lake Geneva, so...
Yeah, I'd love to
who
do
knows?
that.
And I guess, we should mention Alex Gygax.
Oh, yeah, Alex Gygax
was name dropping again.
He was there this weekend, but he was busy, and everybody wanted his time.
He still made some time to come over and talk with us.
He did.
Not that there were anybody. That's really just a shout out to Alex being a great guy.
Just phenomenal.
To come talk to us
Nice
nobodies.
guy. Well, I mean, the Gygaxes, I've never heard a bad thing about any of them.
But if you get a chance to go up to Lake Geneva and check it out, man. Can't say enough about it. Can't say enough about... Oh, man.
Oh, the curds, man. The curds.
I'm going to totally mess up this name.
Fried cheese curds.
But it's...
Alex Kammer?
No.
Oh.
Clover up there. Is it Mark Clover?
Who
At the Lake Geneva Games.
Oh, the game shop. Yeah. Oh, that guy was super nice to us. Yeah.
So I may have messed up your first name, but I got the
we
last
apologize.
name.
Yeah, but super nice guy. He was very. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, so that's a great spot to go if you should be up there.
Cool game store. I love the game room is behind like a secret door,
But back to Texas and back to Saturday.
Right on.
What came after that?
You may have to help me.
The devil made you do it.
Oh yeah, the auction derp. Yeah. So anyway, the midnight auction is become such a tradition. We had been. I can remember the very first year. It was somebody came up like, psst, psst, hey, there's about to be this auction, like it was a secret, And I thought, ooh, you're really in on something. So I ran and grabbed Eddie and his father-in-law John and said, hey, there's this thing. And that was the very first year they did it, and it was like 30 people, 35 crammed in this little room at the old event space. And here's, Mike, Bad Mike, wearing a little cheesy devil costume, hopping around and riffing off this. They're literally selling junk. I mean, it's like an empty gaming box, or just things that are either kind of risque or have something to do with like the devil or Satan, in the part of the game's name. There's like a theme you see here. So it's like tongue-in-cheek, risque games or gaming products, and he's riffing off of them or reading quotes, and you laugh till your sides hurt the whole time. Well, the secret's out. I mean, now there's a line to get into the auction, and so like last year it went like 3 hours, but luckily somebody said, hey, keep it short and sweet. So this year it was maybe what?
About an hour, a little bit more.
Maybe, yeah. But which was kind of a nice sweet spot, but it was a lot of fun. And there's a lot of people that like Bill Barsh's son Ben, who they're both, the Barshes are awesome. Ben, we've kind of watched him grow up over the last 8 years at this con, and now he's making a name for himself, I might add. And so he's kind of arrived because they made a point to tease him. They love to kind of pick and tease. And some are kind of inside jokes, but yeah, I mean, people have been coming to the con for years. But yeah, they picked and teased on playfully, very in a good way. Yeah, in the auction, it was funny, hilarious. But
Hilarious.
the thing that was interesting, intriguing to everybody there was at one point they said,
Matt, get out of this room.
exactly, and I was like, I will not, because I was entirely too inebriated.
Are you talking about the special item that they auctioned, or
Yeah, the special item they auctioned.
so one of the wonderful trash prizes that you could win, that you could available for purchase, was a Long Con T-shirt, and it was one of the very first from our very first
the wax
con,
seal.
which I have no more of those.
Me either.
They're all gone. I'm wearing it. So
Yeah.
we had talked about, we really should put one aside,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think that ever happened.
No.
So they had the shirt for auction. I said, why don't I pick it up?
Yeah.
Because the longer this bidding goes, the more of a free advertisement we get.
Yeah, and I mean, it was nice that they spoke in nice terms as they were holding it up. They must have thought they were talking about somebody else.
Yeah, they had us confused with some other con.
Yeah, but they were super nice. But the great thing was, so the rest of the evening, people that know us would come up and go, "Why did you bid on and win your own shirt?" But I was like, I just tapped my noggin. I was like, this is crazy like a fox. I mean, now everybody's sitting around wondering, why would they buy their own shirt? They're thinking about us, the shirt, our con, hopefully. See what we did there? But anyway, yeah.
But the other thing is, there's going to be a rich backstory with this shirt now. Because if you get the NTRPG version, then I've bought the shirt from them and got their official endorsement. But the Long Con version is going to be that we have rescued our shirt from the evil clutches of the NTRPG. So I think that could be a lot of fun joking, going back and forth, and it'll probably be one-sided, but as long as we get our laugh, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I made a lap after that at the Dwarven Forge Pate on the 13th floor.
Hold on, let's mention one more thing that we've skipped so far.
Sorry, go ahead.
The Three Castles award-winning.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to get to that. I didn't forget. But, yeah, our good friend, Ben Burns, he's been plugging away and producing a lot of great gaming content for years. But this year, lightning struck. He got the Three Castles Award.
Which is?
The prestigious award giving out to, like, the best game product by a handful of judges that are giants in the industry, So, I mean, it's ooh-ah, I mean, so, yeah, Ben was very pleased, and we're very proud of him.
For his Devil in the Swamp adventure?
I believe so.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I believe so. But his product's great.
I thought he had won already.
Yeah, that's what we assumed. He'd already had a couple at the house on the shelf. I mean, but what a great year for Ben. On top of winning Three Castles, he took first place in the Chariot race. Yeah. And he won something else. I mean, that was one of the. So yeah, this was a good year for Ben.
A little too good.
We got to find a way to knock him down a peg. Next time I see him, I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Fred?"
But I guess we'll go into this at some time towards the end of the cast. Yeah. But we do believe that he will be able to come to Long Con Spring Roll.
Awesome, yeah. Ben would love to come to both of our cons, but there's just some conflicts with our
November slot. Long Con Prime.
Right on, yeah. But also, as always, a big thanks to Doug, Ray, and Mike. They put on this con, and we know, running a con now, not even near the size of theirs, what a Herculean effort, and to do it so well and to make it look so effortless. We appreciate them, and they're and the people that work behind the scene to help them.
And they help plug us too. So,
absolutely. They've been a huge influence on us.
Very supportive.
Very supportive. Always.
The only thing I can say is they didn't try and talk us out of it.
Yeah,
so that's on them.
Yeah.
But they let us put our little flyers and posters out, and they say nice things about us when we're not around.
Absolutely. So we appreciate them for that, but as well we appreciate them putting on such a great con. This is something I look forward to every year.
It inspired us, and now it's like a homecoming.
And I'm going to say this was and I have fun every year, but this was my best year. I had so much fun this year. I loved it.
Well, I don't know if it's wrong to say that I had a good year at the con, but Long Con had a great year at the con.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it was really great for us for the networking and all that.
People were very flattering. I think they were blowing smoke, but they were very flattering.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. Small victories.
Even if it's complete,
Smoke.
Yeah, smoke. I mean, I'll just keep on shooting it up in there, But anyway.
Okay, so back to the party.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, I attended the party. I kind of made a pass through, and it's really nice, and that's why I love that I had a lot of more free time this year, because that's a lot of the fun for me is catching up with the friends I've made through the years at the con, playing in their games and playing in my games. And I always feel bad that I wish I could spend more individual time. Like I wish Paul that was in my game and won first place, super great guy. Wish I could have had more time to talk with him. Me and Ben got to talk a couple of times, which was great. I really didn't get a chance. Every time I try to approach old Bill Barsh, somebody already had his ear, or Doug, he's holding court. You just can't get near Doug hardly. But, they're busy and stuff. But I just, if I could have, I wish I'd had more time to spend talking to our good friends at the con,
Yeah, you always get wrapped up, and the schedules are packed so tightly that sometimes you only get maybe 5 minutes to talk to somebody.
Because you're trying to get a bite to eat, try to use the bathroom, drop some stuff off in your room and get something else. But as much as I tried to run a game in every slot this year, and Eddie's like, "Don't!
Ugh.
You're going to kill yourself. You're going to be miserable." But I love to run games, and I love the reaction with the players. But it was nice this year just to run 3 games and only play.
Yeah, I ran 2.
Yeah, and just kind of take it easy. I think that's why I had more fun this year. Kind of pull back.
I like to usually try and leave myself an open game slot to not play games in, so I will get a chance to chat with some people.
And I actually ran one game off list. So I'm telling you, I mean, if you catch me at the con and I've got enough caffeine in me, maybe bribe me with liquor. I like Western Sun vodka. I might run something off list, for somebody.
Or trick him into going outside and beat the hell out of him with a bunch of sticks. It's
That-
whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
I encourage you to do either one.
But anyway, yeah.
So I think that'll wrap up pretty much the con right there. It's not completely over yet, but almost. What else did we have to do? It seems like Sunday was pretty much a goodbye, which it
Yeah.
always is for us. We used to sign up for games, but we never made it to it. One more thing
Never.
for Saturday is this podcast is going a little bit longer, but I think Saturday night, even after all that, after the midnight auction, we stayed up for another 4 hours or something talking about our con experiences so far. So you really are getting the short version of it. We're doing our
Yeah,
best.
trust me. We try to keep this mean and lean. But again, I've already mentioned him, but Christian H., who came up and talked to us, apparently he's one of our listeners. Again, thank
He's
you.
our listener.
Yeah, our one and only, but no. But no, we appreciate him, and we appreciate all of you that take the time. And a suggestion he gave us, because we kind of pried it out of him, was basically, probably keep it short, but it said he would like maybe more frequently.
Which I've always said, but the problem with that, I'm not putting this on Matt. I'm putting it on Matt's schedule.
Oh, yeah, no, I have no shame in my game. I'll tell folks I'd love to, but lately we've been shorthanded at my job where I work 12, 14, and 16-hour days, and I'm an old dog. But I keep it up. But no, I've been really super crazy busy, and then there's home life and all that. And
And getting
we have a
fired up
game
for
club
cons.
locally. Oh, and I've been doing a lot of prep work. Hopefully people can appreciate. It's one reason why at least it pays off. If you enjoy my games, not to toot my own horn, but I put some serious prep work into it. But anyway,
I don't, I
but
just
Christian,
roll up.
thanks for being a listener, and thanks for coming out. And I hate you couldn't play any of my games, but we appreciate you and the other listeners. And hey, if you have any more great ideas like that, give us some input.
So Sunday.
Yeah, we slept in. I was a little hungover, but we went over to Denny's against some people tried to talk me out of it, but we went over there with our friends from up in Minnesota, and had a hearty breakfast and kind of said our goodbyes and parted company, and I drove home through that damn Dallas traffic, hungover, bleary-eyed.
We only almost died once.
Yeah, just that one time. But jamming out to anything from No Show George Jones to Glenn Danzig and Sepultura. I keep a wild mix for my ride. But yeah,
Just to kind of wrap it up, like I said, we went out We played some new games. We talked to a lot of vendors.
Yeah, a
at
lot of new
NTRPG.
vendors and old vendors. Not old, but ones that have been around.
Old timers.
Oh yeah, old.
We try to cherry pick some of that for you too. If we see something that's really interesting there,
Oh yeah.
we try to bring it back home to the long
The
con.
guy that does the cool resin casting, I hope he follows through. He said he's interested in coming, and
We'll have the frogs. The frogs are coming.
right on, right on. I spoke to Donahue and some others.
Which
we
is
saw
Etten Games in Houston.
our old buddy
I think.
Mojo.
Yeah, he's going to come as a player probably
Yeah.
for the next long con, but maybe long con spring he'll be vending again.
Cool, that'd be awesome.
So like I said, the frogs. Oh, Nord Games is talking about coming out.
Oh, that'd be
Which,
awesome.
Great stuff. A lot of system neutral stuff.
And the cool thing is, you don't have to buy a ticket to interact with our vendors. We believe in, people want to just come in and interact with vendors. Great,
And we're trying to nail down Ben at New Comic Games. I think he'll be for the spring roll.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess now that we're talking about spring roll so much, we'll just say we're looking in Longview. We're looking at adding in board games towards the very end of April.
Yeah.
I don't want to put anything up, start selling tickets yet, selling badges yet, until
Things
we've got
are
a
in
little more
flux
locked
right
in.
now, a little bit, yeah.
But if I had to make a bet, it's going to be in Texas in April. That's all I'll say.
All right. Well, hey, again, thanks for listening, and catch you next time.
Have a good one, guys. We're out.